It's time for another expansion to the LEGO Minecraft Windswept Savanna Village. So far, we've added the fisherman's hut on a small island and a bridge over to a quaint little farmhouse. Today's episode will be a bit different though. This is, after all, a windswept savanna, and that means this module is going to be pretty tall. If you tuned into the first episode, you'll probably recall the large cliff behind the fisherman's hut. So it's my intention to expand that further to prepare for the structures that will eventually go on top. And you better believe that we'll be filling in all that space with some familiar Minecraft structures. So hey, let's get to building. Today's 8x16 block module will almost certainly be the strangest in the entire series. And that's probably already pretty apparent just by looking at this weird base. Now the reason for the unusual shapes here is because I want to add some rails for a mineshaft. Minecart rails and mineshafts have proven to be a pretty important part of past LEGO Minecraft projects I've tackled, and one of my favorite techniques to come out of the first LEGO Minecraft series was the rail design I developed. But the rails had a few limitations, mainly that it could only be built in 4-block long sections, and technically it was a bit wider than a single Minecraft block. It took a while to warm up to the idea, but I had to realize that just because it was my favorite LEGO Minecraft building technique, that doesn't mean that it couldn't be improved. So this is what I've come up with, and I think I've certainly seen similar designs on the internet before. In many ways, it remains very similar to the old technique, but it instead uses these 1x2 door rail pieces, one of my favorite bricks. And those are connected onto the side of a standard Technic pinhole brick. These extra bricks here that I'm attaching are not essential by any means. They're just going to offer a bit more of structural support since this is right at the base of the model. The beautiful thing about this technique is that it can be made to fit any length of rails. And then, much like the previous design, we're just going to slide this row of alternating plates in between the metal rails. Those are simply connected on one end by a standard 1x2 jumper plate. The best thing about this technique is that those rail elements just stick a little bit above the plates in the middle and the tiles on the side, so it gives the whole build a bit of dimension without being completely overkill. Subtlety like that is what makes these LEGO Minecraft builds so special. Now, to help the mineshafts scale better to minifigures, I'm still going to scale them up in this world too. That means 4-block tall and 4-block wide mineshafts. And because of that, I'm offsetting the rails to be in between 2 blocks. It's a little cursed, I understand, but 5x5 mineshafts are way too huge, and I think that once we get this all tiled out, it's not going to look too out of place at all. With that big mess cleaned up, I think this looks like a much more proper start to our module. That little indentation at the top is just a spot for me to connect some wires later on once we light this thing up. The rest of the mineshaft is going to come together more or less like normal. I'm using these lovely indented 2x2 bricks, which can perfectly fit this modified 1x1 brick with the bar. It helps look like the fences are actually connecting to the walls. Above, I'm using the reverse side of masonry bricks to replicate oak planks, and then I'll bring back a newer technique here, using the Spider-Man web piece to represent a good old Minecraft cobweb. I first used this technique when building out the stronghold, and I honestly think it's about as good as you can get at this scale. I'm hoping to add 1 or 2 more cobwebs, but I've just gotta wait for them to show up in the mail. Now, this module is going to connect to the other side of the fisherman's hut like we talked about earlier, so that means we've got a lot of terrain to build up. I'm also going to take this time to add the Light My Bricks lighting dock here on the inside because, like the other previous modules, we're going to be putting some lights in this one too. And directly above that, I'll be adding in a zombie dungeon. And the sideways built floor of that will rest upon these tiles. I'm drawing a lot of inspiration for this model from the brand new Zombie Dungeon official LEGO Minecraft set. This is probably my favorite set of the new winter wave. I love all its functions, its minifigures, and its vertical layout, which is something we don't see nearly often enough from the LEGO Minecraft line. It also appears to be a direct callback to the 2015 LEGO Minecraft dungeon set, and it's really cool to see how much the theme has changed over the last 11 years. I just did a video actually about all the 2015 sets if you want to take a look at that. While the new Zombie Dungeon set doesn't quite soar to the heights of one of my all-time favorite sets, the Skeleton Dungeon, I really like how how this model looks. So if you're looking for a really nice, well-rounded, affordable LEGO Minecraft set this year, I think this is the way to go. Next, let's add in that dungeon floor. This is going to be a simple, small 5x5 dungeon bit, all built sideways with the familiar mossy cobble design that I used in the jungle temple and the skeleton dungeon mocks that I did in the first LEGO Minecraft world. I'm going to go ahead and steal the micro zombie from the spawner and put that into my custom spawner, and you'll notice that I do have a light going in there too, so this will light up just a little bit, which should be fun. I'll also be stealing the new chest element from this set, and I've got another one from Steve's Taiga Adventure. These chests are great because unlike my custom design, you can actually fit items in them. This is a long overdue element, and I'm so glad to see it finally appearing in sets. On top of that, I'll also add 3 zombies, 2 adults, and 1 baby zombie. And one of them has a sword and enchanted pants. He's actually taken directly from the zombie dungeon set. It's a pretty intimidating squad of guys here, guarding the very valuable treasure of rotten flesh, bones, and bread. This will sit neatly on top of those tiled bits that we installed earlier, and it's going to be really easy to connect that wire to the dock below. This module kind of looks like a chaotic mess with all these colors, all these structures slammed into one small area, but it's going to all start to make sense here very soon once we start building up the terrain around this bit. The entrance to the mineshaft will be revealed in a future episode, but the dungeon is going to be accessed through a small cave right here on the edge of the module. This small patch of dirt will lead to other Savanna Village structures in future episodes as well. And to keep this build from becoming too cluttered like was the case in the first LEGO Minecraft world, I'm going to leave this section pretty open. It will allow you to see into the lit zombie dungeon a lot more easily. And speaking of lights, I'm going to install one of these larger meteor lights into the mineshaft, which will just give it a nice ambient glow. Thankfully, it's still easy enough to install this wire underneath the dungeon floor, and that's why I do love Light My Bricks. The wires are thin. And here's a closer look at that meteor light. There's just 2 bigger LEDs with a bit of a diffuser over the top of them. This will definitely be the brightest thing that I've yet installed into this display. The power is also going to continue on from this meteor light into the modules up above, so I'm going to need to remember to make sure not to bury this cable underneath all the terrain. But anyway, with all this cleaned up a little bit, let's go ahead and tile off this dirt. And don't you worry, I've still got some olive green flower stems here as well. These things are beautiful. It's looking promising that we'll have enough to finish this, but it's early yet, and there's still a lot more olive green flower stems to place. Already with that small addition of the grass, things are starting to look a lot more coherent. So next, let's go ahead and build the walls of the dungeon. Unfortunately, I ran out of these 1x1 light gray dots, so I'm going to be using my little speedometer ones and other printed ones that I've gotten over the years to make the walls here. I could, of course, use regular pips, but since the lip on these isn't so pronounced, they just look a lot cleaner. I am going to build one of those micro lights into the ceiling again, just so we get some nice glow throughout this space, so you can see what's going on once this is buried into the cliffside. And you know that this ceiling is covered in inverted 2x2 tiles, so it's just as smooth as everything on the outside. Something else I'll be borrowing from the zombie dungeon set is this wonderful player skin, the hazmat guy. Probably one of my favorites of the new wave too. He's going to go underground here in the mine shaft. You'll see he's sporting a new mace weapon here. Next, we're gonna go ahead and build the cave entrance. The techniques used here are not crazy by any means, but I'm trying to make the terrain as interesting as possible with lots of depth variation. The cliff wall also is going to come out over that grassy field, so we have more room to build up above once we start building the village structures on top. I believe the plan is for now to put a small farm as well as the village meeting area up here. But we'll be saving that for a future episode. We've already got plenty going on right here. I will definitely need to restock my dark bluish gray 2x bricks. Whenever I build these kind of modules, I always run out of those so quickly. And one of the reasons I run out of them so quickly is because I do up the sides of these modules in dark bluish gray, which is completely unnecessary, but it sure looks good on camera. I'll be capping off the height of this module at the same place that we did with episode 1, just leaving it completely flat for now so we have a nice smooth foundation to build the secondary modules on top of these. The back of this module isn't going to be completely square though. There's a few details that we have to accommodate that just barely fit into this space. And one of those is the topmost part of the staircase that takes you to the second level of the village. And there's also just going to be a sliver of village path that we have to install up here. So I'm going to be repurposing that technique that I developed for the previous episode with the farmhouse right here. And this is just fantastic because it takes up so little space. It just uses a series of alternating brackets and regular snot bricks to create that slight indentation. The brackets are for regular grass, the snot bricks are for the indented path. I also remembered to leave a big hole for the cables so that we can run some power up here once we get to these higher up modules. But I think I'm going to finish the ground level first, and that'll keep us busy for at least a few more episodes. As I have it planned now, there's going to be 3 tiers, 3 levels to this village. I'm not entirely sure how it's all going to connect and work yet, but it's going to be really fun and exciting. I might end up permanently connecting everything together rather than have it all separate into individual modules. It's not my intention to make this a whole 6 by 5 feet like the last world. It's going to be a bit more manageable and a bit smaller. Hopefully that means I can do a build like this once or twice a year rather than taking 3.5 years to complete a single project. But anyway, let's get this connected to the first 2 modules. In context, I think the zombie dungeon here is going to make a lot more sense. It lines up perfectly with the first module, the Fisherman's Hut, and everything's gonna look even cooler once we light it up. And once again, thank you to Light My Bricks for sending over the components to make this happen. We've got the pulsing blue water, all the lit up structures, and now the lights in the mine shaft and in the spawner. I think it's appropriate to switch out the burning skeleton for a burning zombie that has escaped from the dungeon. And here you can see that that microlight gives you just enough light to see what's going on inside of here. I don't want too much light, otherwise the zombies wouldn't spawn. Down below, the mine shaft is much brighter. And that'll become more important later on as we attach more modules with mine shafts beneath them. Hopefully, with this part of the display now installed, the multi-tier system is beginning to make a bit more sense. We're building out quite the nice platform up here, and there's plenty more to come yet too. Next time, we'll be adding another structure to the village proper, the tannery. And if you want to help support this series and watch that episode early, you can do so right now by becoming a channel member. That'll also get you access to the members only Discord, where you'll get even more behind the scenes insights and meet a bunch of other fantastic LEGO Minecraft enjoyers. If that sounds interesting to you, hit the join button below or follow the link in the video description. But anyway, that's all I've got for this time. I hope you have yourself a great life, and I'll see you here again soon.